We are finally live. Welcome everybody in the chat. I got my chat pulled up here just so I can kind of see what's going on here.
Yo.
Welcome to In the Z Axis, episode 1. We're finally here. I'm excited. Friends, how are we feeling today?
I think I'm doing all right, man. It's good to to finally be live again. It's been a long hiatus.
That's right. Definitely a long hiatus. And with that hiatus, we got some new faces. And I say some, I really just mean one.
Talent.
Yeah, some new talent. I got my good friend Cass here. Cass, how are you feeling?
I'm good. I'm feeling all right.
That's
Had
awesome.
some hot chocolate, but I'm lactose intolerant, so I might have to leave a little early. We'll see how it goes.
Oh no. Hey, I'm right there with you though. I'm definitely lactose intolerant. Wow, I can't believe we're finally doing this. I'm very excited. I'm gonna be straight up with all you. Of course, this year has brought some interesting things into the mix. Of course, we can't really see each other like how we want to, even though we've kind of broken the rules and may have done it a few times. I promise we were all social distancing, but how have we all been handling COVID? Like, what's up with that?
Who wants to go first?
Anybody can jump on in, man.
Well, I'll start then. I would just say that my experience this year has been kind of just like a roller coaster. There's a lot of good, of course, and a lot of bad, and a lot of things that are now becoming like normalcy, like normal things that aren't normal. And that's something that is taking time to adjust to. But overall with COVID, like at the beginning, like as an artist and creative and stuff like that, I really wanted to just, like, oh yeah, this is the time that I'm gonna lock in. I'm gonna, make the best out of my craft and really start to like refine this product that I have to give to people. And it started off that way, definitely. And like I was doing like 2 songs, 6 beats a day type shit, like at the beginning of it, like right when we started.
Damn.
Like I would say around March. So like in between March and April, I was going crazy. But now, since all of this stuff is kind of just longer, taking a way longer time than it is to get back to like good stuff. And then, of course, because of social media, we're seeing all these countries and stuff like that open back up. And like, because they follow protocol and like how they had their first festival in Australia and shit like that. And I'm watching that like fucking Rolf from Ed, Edd n Eddy. Like, because I mean, it's just like, damn, bro, like we can get back to that. But it's like the way that the United States period is just set up, it's like this shit's gonna go on longer than it needed to. And that's the kind of idea that's burning me out. Like, not saying that I've stopped completely, but now towards the end of this year, I'm kind of like just taking a step back from a lot of stuff to focus on like the shit that I have right in front of me. So like the Z Axis show and Reform. But I'm still making music, just not like as heavy and stuff like that. So I just kind of shifted and to focus on more stuff that I can control. And of course focus on the silver lining of having my first child with a woman that I love during all of this stuff too.
Our first child.
Yes.
All of us.
Let's be honest here. That child belongs to all of us.
Yeah. Shout out
Homie, I can't wait to dunk on him.
Man, me neither, bro. Like, you want to race? And I'm gonna be like, I'm about to dust your ass.
I'm gonna show you how I used to do your damn daddy. Let me show you real quick. That's how I used to do I used to run backwards on your daddy. He couldn't catch me. Wow.
Yeah, that's my experience so far.
That's good, man. That's good. I'm glad you're hanging in there too. Oh, what'd you say, Cass?
That's just so crazy. As Paris was explaining that, it's like literally everything goes in together. So he was talking about Reform and his music and the things that make you, who you are as an individual, but also just the way that America's set up, as you just brought up, is like that's what's holding us back, and that's why we can't have festivals and do shit that Australia's doing and things like that, because we're such a individualistic country. So it's like, do what you want, we're going to trust you to do the right thing, but no. So it's like individualism, when you look at it for yourself, is like, yeah, I can make my music, I can raise my kid, I can do these things that I love to do as a creative, but on a grand scale, anyway.
Yeah, no, I mean I'm with you 100%. I spent the last so many months of my life, years of my life traveling, and to I guess be at home now it's kind of a bittersweet feeling. Like I mean I'm happy I'm here. Of course, there's a lot of functions and things that I just missed that some of you guys put together just from being on the road, and now I'm like okay I get to reconnect with some of my closest pals, but I just can't help but to feel like and I've mentioned it before that this time doesn't come unwarranted. I do have newfound time on my hands to do things, but it didn't come without the cost of, hundreds of thousands, millions of lives across the globe. So trying to figure out ways to make the most of it, which is why, I brought this back. Cause I'm like, well, as much as I love speaking with all you, I'm sure maybe somebody might be out there and they're like, yeah, I want to listen to these guys talk about shit too. So, I don't know, bringing back old projects, bringing in new friends. And there's really no hoping for the best.
Oh, okay. So I guess I should speak on COVID life.
Do it.
So, I feel like my regular day-to-day life. I mean, I still get up and go to work, even when COVID was like the hot fire thing. I was an essential worker, so I went to fucking work, go home, sit in the dark, watch Hulu, Netflix, or whatever. Like that's what it was for me for the first 3 months. And then after that 3 months, I was just like, man, like I'm just like actually getting fat, and like gyms and stuff opened up. So I went to the gym, and I mean I'm still going to this day. So I guess that's been good. I've dropped like 25 pounds and I'm better shape. I could walk around the house without my roommate calling me fat. So I mean, that's definitely
me. He's not talking about me.
That's definitely Muscles McGee Oscar.
Yeah.
I definitely feel like things that. So I'm not able to travel for events such as Rod, so it's been more of, all right, we got to find a way to like connect with others while in the comfort of our homes. So I've been streaming a lot more. Just recently got affiliated on Twitch, so that has taken a lot of my time. I mean, I just feel like quarantine was never really going to work in this country because we're a very go. Everything is 24 hours. There was just no way that I felt like we were actually going to be able to just say, you know what, America, go ahead and shut down, and then everything will be cool. Like I always thought, like as soon as it started, and like people are talking about when COVID goes away, and I'm like, no, it's a virus. It's not going to go away. What's going to happen is people are either going to just stop caring, or they're going to have to come up with a vaccine. And it looks like they're going the route to where they've almost got a vaccine that they want to, give out to everybody.
Yeah, straight up. I had.
How do you guys feel about that?
Oh, I'm not taking crap, bro.
Yeah, I don't know. See, here's the thing. So people talk about like, I know Letitia, I forget what her name is, but she plays Shuri in Black Panther. Phenomenal actress, and she made a couple tweets a few nights ago about maybe just double thinking on taking the vaccine, maybe doing a little bit more research, and the internet kind of blew her up. No, of course, when you use the internet, it removes a layer of like familiarness. Like we don't really know each other. I don't really know the tone in which you tweeted this. I don't really know where your headspace is at. But if you really like look at the stuff in this country historically, we have every right as people of color to be a little skeptical of a vaccine. I mean, medical warfare was something that they definitely used to fight against us. So, I mean, of course, take it if you can. If you don't want to take it, that's perfectly your choice. But I don't ever want to give anybody crap for questioning it, though. Like, everybody's going to handle it differently. I don't know.
I also feel like if the vaccination is just supposed to be like, all right, this is going to stop you from getting it, and if you get it, I mean, that's on you. Like, you chose not to take the vaccination. But if the other people around you are vaccinated, they shouldn't have to worry or care, I feel. Are you endangering those other people? I feel like it'd be no, because, I mean, they got vaccinated like they wanted to.
Right.
I think that's what I've been seeing, too, is they say, if at least, like, 75% of people get the vaccine, then it doesn't matter for whoever decides not to, which I think, I mean, I feel like with our generation, we are more hip to, I guess, distrust in the government, and we have the resources to know about, the fabrication of AIDS in the Black community and things like that that were a result of the government doing these things purposefully. And so obviously, like Rodney said, like that's why our generation is more hesitant, especially people of color, because it's like, okay, you can only experiment on us so many times before we're like,
hold up, fam.
Yeah.
You're not about to inject some shit in me that you just, I feel like for me, the skepticism comes from, okay, a good vaccine might take a few years, maybe even a decade to develop. And y'all just threw some shit together in a couple months. Like, I don't trust that.
That's one thing that I've talked to people. Like, I'll ask people, like, how long do you think it takes them to make a flu vaccination? And people are like, give me their guesses. And I'm like, no, actually, it took at least 10 years for them to make that damn vaccine. I'm like, now I know, you got scientific advances and stuff like that, but I still felt like it was kind of quick. And I always told people, I was like, bro, and if the United States is the one that comes up with the fucking vaccination, I'm definitely. I feel like I've had this conversation with people many a times that in other countries, let's say you go to like an African country where they have a rich ruler, and all of the the residents of that country are poor. You know where the corruption is. You know what to look out for. Like if you ask the people, like, hey, what's the underhanded stuff that goes on in your country? They can tell you because it's been going on for years, and it's pretty damn obvious. I feel like the United States, just like any other country, is going to have some corrupt things, but I feel like the United States has either done a really good job of covering up the things that are corrupt, or maybe people just haven't paid attention, and then now people's eyes are starting to get like opened with like recent events and stuff. It's like, damn, we're not the perfect country that that we thought we were.
Sure.
And so now people are like questioning everything. So it's just like, man, I don't know what I could believe what the government's telling me, and what they aren't telling me.
I mean, I agree. When I was in Australia, that was around the time like everything started to get really bad. And I knew it was bad because even people in Australia were buying like all the toilet paper, all the hand sanitizer, all of that. And I told them, I said, I don't care how y'all handle it. It's not going to be a big deal until it gets in America. Like, it could be in every other country in the world, but if America doesn't care, for some reason the world is just like, it's just not a big deal.
It's cool.
So, like, I kind of feel like, even though it started in China, like, who cares where it starts? Like, viruses are going to happen. Like, it never matters where they start. It matters how it finishes. And I feel like we've handled it, like, the wackest. I look at some of the other countries. They've allowed people to stay home and pay them. You know what I'm saying? Like, people who want to leave the house. I mean, of course, I'm not for brutality or beating people up, but I'm like, hey, look, if I'm going to pay you to stay home for 2 months or whatever, and if I catch you out trying to, shoot hoops, I'm about to hit you upside the head with a club. Stay your ass home. So I think, we are the ones that need to be, a little bit more forward thinking when it comes to developing this vaccine. I was in Burger King, getting a full course dinner, and they had the TV on, and they were like, yeah, we just came up with a vaccine. And I'm like, a vaccine already? And they're testing it on people? And I'm
Burger
like,
King spread.
I don't know, man.
The Burger King employees told you this?
No, it was on the TV. But, I mean, honestly, the news...
Honestly, I believe the dudes in Burger King more than the news, bro. They looking out for you. I mean, they already feeding you.
You already get to have it your way at Burger King. I mean, they haven't lied to me yet.
No. I definitely...
think,
a lot of the stuff that you guys were saying for sure. It's more or less the country that we're in was not built for something like this. That's one thing. Like our infrastructure, the way that everything is set up is not built for handling that. And don't get me wrong, I know that people were talking about how like Obama had a whole plan, blah 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 blah. All this stuff was supposed to be laid out for a pandemic response. But my thing is, it's more or less on the people that are in power to do something. And the people that are in power are the owners of companies, the real estate people, the people that are landlords. Those are the people that really made this pandemic go out of control, in my opinion. Because those are the people that didn't say, hey, we understand that this is serious. We're going to give you guys quarter cut pay and everybody can stay home. As opposed to besides essential workers, like I know, like Alex, you said, like when that all started, like it was, of course, the essential workers that had to go in. But my thing is this: if you were guaranteed to stay at the spot that you're living in, and all you had to do was stay at home, would you be more likely to stay home?
Nah.
That's the question. You wouldn't.
Nah, no, bro.
So if they told you didn't have to go into work and you would just get a quarter cut, so you'd be making 75% of your pay.
No handouts,
and they could
bro.
take out a loan from the government that
Alex is a Republican.
Yeah, exactly. Or that bails out countless banks and countless other corporate entities all the time for trillions of dollars. If they couldn't take a loan from them, these corporations that we all work for and stuff like that, if they could take a loan from them, give you 75% of your pay, and all you had to do was stay home. That I feel like would have eliminated a lot of stuff.
I really wonder and like think about when people talk about that, like how much money would it actually have taken to fund it to where you make sure that every person, because everybody just like, oh, we'll just shut down the country and pay everybody, and I'm just like, all right, like saying that is a lot easier than actually doing it. Like, how much is that going to cost? How are we going to get the funds to everyone and things of that sort? And then people are just, oh, we'll just pay these people. I'm just like, well, we live in the United States where like capitalism is the big thing. Like, you know, you go out and you make your money. We're not big on like helping each other out. As long as, you know, as much as we like to talk about, you know, how much we care about like helping the poor and things of that sort, we would have actual solutions to that. Like, there are more vacant homes in the country than there are homeless people, but we care about making money more than we care about other people. Like, there are many things out there that we could solve, but at the end of the day, I'm just like, no, I don't think most people actually really care. It's just like it hits that heartstring to where like, damn, you know, like this could happen to me or someone that I care about, or even just the fact of thinking about those sad things makes you feel bad. But like when it comes down to it, like let's say, like I've always told people, like if I had to change my lifestyle to where I couldn't collect sneakers anymore, to where like in a perfect world where, you know, people wouldn't be hungry, you know, people would be, you know, how it's like people got paid according to their needs and not like actually what they did for a job, I'd be completely down with it. But to get the whole country to go with that mindset would just be wild. It'd be crazy.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. But then when that comes into factor, like I understand what you're saying about like money and stuff like that, but to me, money is just a concept. Like, we print money and stuff like that all the time. I don't understand the concept of not being able to help people that are in need that actually don't want to, you know, spread the virus or anything like that. Like, that doesn't have as much to do with it as it has to do with money, but it has to do more with being just a human to me. And that's what a lot of people have, is like a disconnect with what it is to be human or what it is to be a part of nature, because naturally humans have the knack to do good things or to do good. That's why we feel good when we do good stuff. As a psychopath or somebody that doesn't have that same endorphin release when we do something good for somebody, that's what makes you a serial killer, or that's what makes you somebody that's off in the head.
Paris knows too much about serial killers.
I mean, some of them are Pisces, I'm pretty sure.
He's trying to say all these things that I'm describing about myself are not serial killers.
But I agree with Paris. No. I do think that naturally people are nice. As you know, you have a child. We've all been around little kids. If you drop something, they naturally just pick it up for you and do stuff like that. I do think that a lot of the ways that we act, you know, our views towards capitalism, of course, all of that is a taught concept. And Paris, even though like I agree with what you say about like the natural human experience in this country, like I've always felt like people have to see it in order for them to believe it, and I never quite understood that. At least not at an adult level. Like as a child, it's like don't touch the stove, don't touch it. Then you touch it and you burn yourself. But you learn, you get out of that after a while. But you know, even looking at like, you know, the George Floyd situation, you know, people of color been murdered by the police and stuff for years, but the fact that we actually caught this one on camera is what really rocked everybody to the core. Same with the virus. You know, we've dealt with viruses and things as such, maybe not to this level, but the fact that there's footage and there's all this type of shit out there about people in the hospital rooms and small children, and you know, at first we thought young people were immune, then people in their 20s were dying, then, you know, old people, babies, and I'm like, you know, I would really like you know, to kind of go back to what you said, if people had just a little bit more compassion, just, you know, be a little bit more lenient with one another. Like, I went to the gas station, somebody didn't have a mask on. A part of me was like, man, I really wish this dude had a mask on. But then the opposite part of me was like, I don't really know this person's struggle, though. Like, this person might not be able to breathe. Like, you know what I'm saying? I don't really know, you know, what to really take into effect. I'm just really banking on good judgment, which is why, like, when we talk about capitalism and I give people, like, I give homeless people money, I'm like, you know, I'm giving you this money out of good faith. I'm not going to police you on where it's going to go. Okay, like if I'm in a position to just give you $5 and I don't care about it, then I should not be in a position to try to police you after I've given it to you. Handle it however you want. I don't want it back. I hope you do whatever it is that you need to do with it. But I don't know. I guess people just don't really have that type of feel for one another until it happens to themselves. Until it hits close to home. Oh shit, my light. Until it hits close to home, that's when people are like, all right, I need to start caring. But more times than not, by then, it's already too late.
Dag, bro.
Sorry about that. My
I'm
light
not
went.
even gonna lie, when
Damn.
you was about to have a rave, bro.
Man, see, hold on. Look at it when I turn the light off.
Ronnie is about to pull out the glow sticks.
It's night storm. It's night storm all over here.
Glow sticks. Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, and that's. I agree with you guys too. Like the footage, well, what you were saying, Rodney, like the footage, because when, not even gonna lie, like I was about to just like curl up in a ball at the beginning of all of this shit, because it was like they were showing all them videos of like people dying in the streets in China and stuff like that, just people just convulsing, like laying next to a curb and shit like that.
Yep.
And that shit was wild, bro. Like that was like, I really thought it was like some World War Z type shit. Like this was the spread of the century. And then I found out that the bubonic plague took out 1 billion people.
Yeah.
And then you were like, oh, we cool.
Yeah.
I was like, ah.
Yeah, I mean, the bubonic plague was pretty much that was a death sentence. You figure back then people weren't living as long. I mean, you know, I'm almost 30.
Exactly.
Like, by those standards, I think I had maybe another 15 years in me. If I was lucky, then I was done. So
True.
you figure, like, we just didn't have
And
them.
niggas was wearing like shawls and stuff too. Like you go over somebody's house to eat dinner, and then like somebody like lifts up their arm to like grab the butter, and then you see a black bug on them, and you're like, you got the plague, nigga, I'm out of here. But by then it's too late. you already toast by then. So it's like, damn. And there wasn't social media. But the thing that's scary about that is there also wasn't all of these ways to travel.
True.
And that was another thing that kind of like threw me off too. It's like, how the fuck are we containing this? And we are traveling and able to travel quicker and more places than during the bubonic plague. That shit was wild to me. Like if we don't hit like the 1 billion point for COVID cases, because a lot of people are recovering, but if we don't hit like the 1 billion deaths, I would be super surprised.
So what's like really surprising to me, I'm trying to remember who it was that went in for they were telling me they were like talking to their doctor about it, and they talked about like, you know, like death tolls and stuff like that. Obviously every year, you know, just the normal death toll is going to go up because, you know, you got more humans to die.
Sure.
And apparently there hasn't been like a ridiculous increase in the United States for, you know, deaths. But then you got to add in like so many factors, and I was like, okay, so is this just replacing what other people would die from, or is it actually a lot bigger? Because like, let's say like obviously there'd be less car accidents because less people are driving, you know, around. Are these replacing those, or are they just replacing regular sicknesses? And it's just always like really interesting to like, you know, like kind of stat search on things of that sort. And it's just like, man, like, did this really just take the place of other illnesses that people are getting, or is this one that's getting stacked on top of?
Yeah.
Which is, I think that's how like most people are seeing it. They're seeing it as, okay, this is stacked on top of like cancer and, you know, like the flu and, you know, whatever else people die from.
Yeah. Well, to kind of switch subjects a little bit, speaking of people dying, let's talk about Jake Paul versus Nate Robinson.
Oh no!
So yeah, we had a bit of an exhibition match about a week and a half, 2 weeks ago, and it was Mike Tyson, who is still as dangerous as ever, versus Roy Jones Jr., another legend in the boxing front, and also too a pretty damn good actor. I don't know if you remember. He was in The Matrix Reloaded. He only had a few lines, but I was just like, damn, this motherfucker delivered those lines. Goddamn. But
bro. He was in one of them red crocodile suits too, huh?
Yeah, man. He was extra leathery and extra shiny. But I gotta say, as big as the Mike Tyson and Roy Jones Jr. exhibition was, Mike Tyson's still dangerous, but I think the Jake Paul and Nate Robinson thing might have stolen the show. I don't know. What are our thoughts on that? Man. What are our thoughts on that?
Most definitely, bro. I knew about that fight before. Okay, so I guess I knew about the fight because like right after it happened, I saw people tweeting about it. But I literally didn't know what happened with the Tyson fight until the next day. Like that's when I saw people like talking about it, and I'm just like, oh, okay, yeah, I forgot. Like, I mean, they actually did fight. Like, dang, the show got taken over. But that's just one of those, you get two celebrities at each other from two different worlds. That's just going to create so much more of a buzz than two people that are just in the same, okay, these are boxers. Even though they were at such a high stature, it was just like, bro, like, how often are you going to see these two fight? The other two, I mean, you can see them fight. You can go back and watch footage. It's what they do. But it was just that, man, like, we grabbed a basketball player and a YouTuber and put them in a ring together.
A 5'9" basketball player at that. 5'9".
Yeah,
man.
That was.
He was dunking though.
Yeah, he was dunking.
He was dunking.
I mean, he was like a 2 or 3 time NBA dunk contest champion. I'm pretty sure, wasn't he?
Bro, never forget, bro. Never forget the fight at the Garden, bro. Carmelo backed off, bro.
Man,
first of all,
now if they would have did kickboxing, it might have been a little different. Because I don't know about Jake Paul's vertical. I know they say white man can't jump, but Nate can definitely get the boingers off.
Man.
So if he would have hit him with a drop kick to the face, it might have been something different.
I think what's crazy is you just think of like, I don't know if sense of entitlement is a good phrase for it, but
man,
the Jake dude, like, apparently this is what he does. Like, he boxes and does all that like UFC shit, and Nate Robinson didn't do any type of research before trying to exert
I heard that
himself
Jake
into
definitely
this,
for the past year has been going pretty hard at it. With his
did you guys see that footage reel? Is that what you're referring to, Cass? That footage reel of him against, like, he did like exhibition matches at like local gyms. Did you see that? Did any of you guys see that?
Yeah, I did see that.
Bro, he was knocking people out, like legitimately, like Kool-Aid and that shit. Like, you saw blood when Jake Paul
too much sugar, bro.
Hit him with a uppercut, or like somebody would be like, "All right, I'm done." Like, if you have somebody, even if you're not, a professional boxer, and you have people tapping out, you are a force to be reckoned with. Period. Because if you're going against somebody that has a vernacular for boxing, period, like they're in the gym, they want this to happen to them. They know they're going to get punched in the head this X amount of times, and they're still tapping out against this fighter that just started within the last like year. Like, it's like on some like some fucking anime shit. If we're keeping it all the way honest, like, it's like this person is not supposed to be anybody in this world, comes in this world and puts his foot down like, yo, I'm him. And not saying that it's against just Nate Robinson, but if you guys watch that footage, it's multiple people that are closer to Jake's size in reach. Like, Jake, I think he's like, what, 6'2" or 6'1" or something like that. Somewhere. He's a pretty big dude. He's not like super small. And so he has reach. And then on top of that, he's put on weight. Like, that's another thing too that I don't think people really realize. I don't know what class that fight was in. It was just a fight between two celebrities. They never said it was a heavyweight, middleweight, none of that. We don't know any of their weights. There could have been a substantial weight difference between them. And if it was from a standard of boxing, I feel like that fight would not have happened. But because it was backed by Thriller and weed maps and all of that stuff, it happened because there were parties that were involved that were like, all right, we see the bread that's involved with this. Let's make sure that this happens so we can get our streams and get our views and our hits on Twitter.
Weed maps, bro?
Bro, Yes.
Bro,
Triller was the
happened.
fucking...
Bro, they got high when they came up with the idea for that.
Hey, I forgot he
They're the same weight class, right? Like, true, they're part of
Wasn't it Schoolboy
cool
Q?
school.
Schoolboy Q tweeted some shit like, yo, this fight is for anybody that smokes weed or does edibles. This is not for you sober niggas. That's literally what he said. Like,
Actually,
I mean,
I don't know if you guys have seen this. I saw this this like flyer. It was from a verified account. Like they weren't trolling, and it was the Jake dude and Floyd Mayweather. That's the fight that's up next. Like
that's
what?
happening on the 20th, right?
What?
Are you serious?
I think that's on the 20th. It's another exhibition match.
Yeah, like that
It's
is
ridiculous.
Real.
I mean, I think this is one of the few good things, and I don't really know like what type of scale I'm using to weigh the good versus the bad of COVID, but this is one of the, I guess, the more decent things about this that we can get. Kind of like some of these all-star games, but like all year. You know, you would only really see something like this in February, but you know, I just think with that and like, you know, some of the versus battles and stuff, I'm like, you know what? I mean, I don't know what other time I would have had seen Nate Robinson versus Jake Paul, because going into that fight, I assumed that, and this is just me, like, just assuming that the dude that plays basketball is going to knock the other guy out. I didn't even do much research on, you know, Jake. And then when I looked at the fight, and I'm looking at the footwork, and I'm looking at the finesse and just the swagger,
you're like, oh no!
I was like, wait a minute here, Nate. And Nate is trying to, and Nate is taking it to the hood on Jake. He's trying to pick him up, and I'm like, Nate's in trouble here. Like, first of all, he's already working at a physical disadvantage, but I'm like, yo, if he punches you some type of way, Nate, I don't think you're getting back up.
Exactly, bro.
Bro, when you said that, when you were like, when you saw the footwork, the first thing that popped in my head was in the Boondocks when Granddad fought Stink Meaner, and they were just looking at him, and they like realized it was like, oh no, like he was just a blind old man. They got lucky, stopped them. No, it was too late, bro. caught them hands.
Well, he knocked Nate down a couple times. He knocked him down once or twice, and I think, like, you know, just, and this is just maybe the video gamer in me, the person who watches any, you know, sort of thing with rounds in it. I'm like, yo, 3 rounds?
No type of
I was like, yo, after the first 2, I'm like, dog, you're working on borrowed time. And then that third one hit, and I was like, wow, he really just knocked this grown-ass man out. Like, Nate Robinson is on the internet right now. He got Family Guy. He got, like, face in the dirt, leg going one way, arm way up here, like.
He turned into Joe Swanson real quick.
Honey.
Oh, Joe, did you crap yourself again? Wow. Anyway, let's move on. Fresh Prince reunion. So regardless if you've seen it or not, we all know what the premise of the Fresh Prince is. You take this cool kid from Philadelphia, you move his ass out to California, and we just kind of see what happens and the magic that can go down on stage. Wow, the reunion though. Can we talk about that? I mean, I learned a lot on who I thought some of these people were and who they were not. Yeah.
As characters or as real people?
I think a little bit of both, but go ahead though.
I didn't watch it, so you.
Well, so basically,
so
basically, like, the elephant in the room is Janet Hubert, of course, who played the original Aunt Viv, phenomenal actress, and she kind of went on to explain, and she's always actually explained this in interviews, that everything that you've seen, of course, on camera, and even some of the behind-the-scenes stuff that you would catch sometimes on TV, like on E! Or VH1 or whatever, is not what you think it is. She went on to explain that, you know, Will was kind of a little unforgiving towards her. You know, she was going through a lot of things in her life, and she kind of looked at it as, if I don't interact with Will, if I don't do these types of things around Will, he'll take it as I don't like him, and if I don't like him, he's a star of the show, you know what I'm saying, and they might try to give me the boot or whatever. But as somebody who, like, I'm not like a professional actor, but just from somebody who comes from that realm and just looking at egos, I can see how two people like that could have an issue with one another. Janet Hubert, original Broadway cast of Cats. Cats was like Hamilton back then, like, and she's in the original Broadway. I mean, that's bragging. You know what I'm saying? So she's professionally trained. She can cry on count. You know what I'm saying? She can do everything. She comes to, you know, this show, and in her world, she's like, well, I'm the most talented actress here. I'm accompanied by James Avery, who is, you know, fucking phenomenal, everything that he does. And then you got this kid from Philadelphia who has this little bit of an ego. And I could see, like, the conflicting, like, tension. I can see it just right there. It was interesting, though. I don't know. Who were some of your guys' favorite characters on Fresh Prince?
Jazzy Jeff.
Jazzy Jeff.
Just because.
Yeah, man.
And when Nia Long was on there.
You said who?
Can't forget that. Nia Long.
Oh yeah. Nia Long is always.
When she had the cameo.
Yeah, she's a status quo. Yeah, she was. Nia Long is always. I don't know. That's I'm gonna keep it PG.
Harder than the '90s and early 2000s.
Yeah. But it was really interesting though. It was really interesting to see like some of the backstage dynamics. To see how all those characters are still them, on and off screen in certain areas. But I think, Will and her had a very special sit down that was separate from the rest of the cast. And she went on to explain, this is something that really, kind of bothered me. And Cass, I know you talked about this as well a little bit in our group chat, was, she was pretty much like set up to be the next, I don't fucking know, Angela Bassett, whoever, was coming up at that time. And, the fact that, Will and some of the other people kind of wrote her off as, the angry black woman. Or I don't know if it was actually just Will, might have been some of the producers, but whoever it was, that really hurt her career. That hurt, her family, what I'm saying? Like, her paychecks got cut down. She wasn't getting as many episodes to herself in a season. And it just came to a point where she was like, I think if I don't leave this, they might actually just get rid of me as it is. And lo and behold, they brought in, who I didn't know was married to Ray from Sister, Daphne Reed. I didn't know that they were married in real life, but they are actually a couple, and they brought her in. I know. That just fucked me all the way up. And yeah, I don't know. The angry woman of color, like Troop, is something I'm not about. Like I don't like that type of shit. I don't know.
No.
See, I think I like you mentioned, we had already kind of had this conversation on a surface level, but I think, like you said, she was kind of just, they were basically trying to push her out is the thing, and towards the end, it was treating her as if she were disposable, like, okay, we can find another you. They did. Exactly, they did find another person, but just like you said, like, she was in the original Cats, like, she was, she was a big dog at the time, and the whole, I know she had that interview when they were promoting the reunion, basically saying, like, at the time, her husband wasn't working, she was pregnant, they offered her, X amount of money, and told her that if she signed on for, however many more seasons, this is what she's getting paid, and she can't do any other type of production while they're doing the show. And so she was saying, like, I basically didn't have a choice because I was the only person who was bringing any money in. I was about to have a child. Like, they didn't give me a choice. So she had, she's like, I still need to be able to work and do other things if you guys aren't going to pay me a sustainable amount of money. And so that's why they ended up, parting ways. But I think I remember growing up, we always heard that narrative that, her and Will had the problem with each other, and it was kind of like a diva, oh, I can't work with him type of thing. It wasn't we never heard this until she said,
so,
no, they pushed me out.
Sure.
That kind of makes me wonder if, like, so, like, sometimes you think there's a certain issue, but that issue doesn't actually exist until you make it in your head. Like maybe it just did happen to be like some minor miscommunications, but then it ended up actually turning into that. Maybe because of the way that, they ended up acting because of, what she thought. I mean, I'm not sure because I didn't see the thing, but I've definitely seen that happen like numerous times where it's just like, oh, I assume this person doesn't like me or has an issue with me. So you act a sort of way towards them when really there was no issue in the beginning, but because you two ended up interacting like that because you'd already thought you were like that, then it actually turned into a thing where you don't like each other.
Sure. And I mean, I really do feel like there may have been an issue. When I kind of caught a bit of Will's backstory. So Quincy Jones was one of the executive producers for The Fresh Prince. And as we know, Quincy Jones is one of the masterminds behind the best-selling album of all time, Michael Jackson's Thriller. So, he has a knack for putting the right people on. And so, you meet Will. Will's already rapping. He's already doing his thing. He's kind of already sort of a big deal in like that bubblegum rap type of, 90s era. And You know, now he's like, I want to put you on TV. Well, Will is like, well, hell, I got, you know, a family. I got a mom back at home. I'm trying to do my thing. I think he kind of looked at it as, well, if I don't carry myself as the star that I have been set up to be, then I might, you know, this could just be a one and done thing. I could be another just Steve Urkel or, you know, Fran Drescher. I mean, that's basically what his character is on the show. You know, you have the main character, then you have like the one-off funny character that can kind of do whatever he or she wants. And I feel bad for Will because he talked about, you know, seeing his mom abused and, you know, acting a type of way to make sure that, you know, he protects his family. But I also really feel bad for Janet as well. You know, people on Broadway, you're in Broadway to get your name in the history books. I mean, there is money there to be made, but it's not a lot. That's why when I look at people like Jonathan Groff, who plays Kristoff's voice in Frozen, but he comes from Broadway. He played King George in Hamilton and stuff. Like, that jump from the stage to the big screen or the small screen or whatever screen is a huge deal for some of those actors and actresses. And, you know, when I see her and I hear her stories, I mean, it really upsets me, but it's not an uncommon story. I mean, if we look at Family Matters, I think Jaleel White and the mother from the show, because remember, they changed the mom out on there too in the last season. They had a big issue with each other. Like, she's like, I don't want to work with this kid. I don't like his character. I can't tell when he's acting or when he's being serious. Like, I don't know what the hell is going on. So, I don't know. I just didn't like the fact that, you know, we just, not us specifically, but the executive producers of the show wrote it off as, yeah, she's just the angry black woman. I mean, just really dragging this woman on the radio and in these TV interviews like this. This is horrible.
Yeah.
And I also think that Will Smith specifically, not even just as it relates to Fresh Prince, but his entire career in general, he was kind of set up in a certain light. Mm-hmm. And so I would say up until recently, really, you know, you always heard talks about, oh, he's a drama queen on the set of Fresh Prince, just like we were discussing. But aside from that, you know, none of that was ever confirmed until recently. And then obviously within, I'd say maybe the last year or two, we see all the things going on within his family unit with, you know, him and his wife and things like that. But for decades, he was star child, you know, like people viewed him as they view Drake.
Sure. Like,
you can do no wrong type of thing. Like, he's just
people think that about Drake.
They definitely do.
Definitely new news to me.
Yeah, Drake definitely has done some very, like if you was anybody else but Drake, if you was any other character from Degrassi, your ass would be in some trouble here. But since you're Drake,
yeah, bro. Hiding your son,
yeah,
and then saying you don't have any kids on a record. Saying you don't have any kids on a record, while in fact you have a child that was either on the way or was already born. That's some wild shit.
Yeah,
bro. Yeah, people did.
But he's not canceled.
People did come to his side when the Pusha T thing was going on, and I was so confused. They were like, I can't believe he would say things like that to Drake. It's a diss song. What?
It's a fucking beef. Yeah, they must not watch Smack.
There's no rules in rap beef. There's no rules in rap beef. But, you know, looking at Will, you know, 20. I mean, I don't even know if he was 21. He might have been 20, 21, maybe 22. You know, he went on to explain that he's making a lot of money. He's sending money back home to his mom, so that's a peace of mind in his head that's cleared now. Like, she's handled, and on top of that, you know, Nike and, you know, all these brands are sending them free shit. So you figure as a young man, I mean, I can only imagine myself in a position like that. Like, no bills, and I'm just getting free stuff and getting paid to... I mean, he's not really even acting on the show. I mean, he is acting, but, like, he gets away with a lot of what I like to call Will Smith-isms, which is why it's really easy for him to play Genie and Aladdin, because he can just be him. Like, could you imagine him as... he was supposed to be Neo in The Matrix. Like, could you imagine Will Smith as Neo? Like, could you, like, just the monologue, like, Agent Smith is like, I want your ass dead, you filthy humans, you stink. He's just, right, and I and you want me like dead, right, and woo.
That's why he had to go to Men in Black, though.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah. So, I am
classic body of work, though.
Definitely. I mean, I think that culturally, the Fresh Prince obviously is a big deal to everybody. It's reaching that Cosby Show tier, and what I mean by that is not just like what the show means to people, but Like, now we want to know everything about the show. Like, yes, we fell in love with this family. We fell in love with this kid from Philly, you know, how he works and, you know, wherever the fuck they were in California. But now we want to know, like, what were you like backstage? Like, how did you act? I mean, even Ellen's getting this treatment, too. Like, Ellen's getting completely just... She's in court for all types of shit, and she's getting ripped up. And I'm like, damn, what the hell happened?
Wow.
I thought people loved her.
I didn't know she was in court.
Yeah, bro.
That's wild.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I would say that Fresh Prince for me, I watched it, of course. And I probably caught on to it like once when it was closer to like when it released, and then again like, you know, when I was up in my adolescence and Nick at Night, like stuff like that, and like what was it, like WGN used to play it sometimes too. It was on a couple different networks.
Yep.
And I would just catch it randomly. It definitely is one of those like shows. It's like a feel good show because you see like an all black cast and all of that stuff too. But then there was something, I forgot where I read it at, but it was either an article or something on Facebook or Twitter. But it was talking about like, it was breaking down the show on like a kind of more psychological level. And it was like saying that like Will's character was supposed to be the cool one, and he was like the one that was skipping class, was so good at athletics and stuff like that, to the point where his teacher didn't even care if he showed up. And then Carlton was the comic relief, but he was the one that was, you know, like valedictorian and like doing all of this extra stuff through extracurricular activities. And like he was on the rugby club, the duet club or whatever that singing group stuff is, like all of that stuff, like that stuff was like the comic relief, as opposed to that's being like what you should do if you want to like get a scholarship, or that's what you should do if you want to make connections that would, you know, lead you to be more successful on like a business or just normal standard of being like successful and stuff like that. And I find that kind of interesting. And like I sit back and look at stuff like that, and I think like, man, what if those roles were switched? Like, what if Will was the smart one, and then they kind of switched that around, and Carlton was like, of course they might have had to cast somebody different because he looks like a funny person.
It's a little guy.
But if it was like different, like, and he's not athletic, obviously, because we all saw that episode where like Will like threw him through the hoop or whatever at the end of the game or something, some crazy shit like that. But I don't know, like that's something that like when you grow with these shows, it's kind of like fun to see. Like you grow with a show, like you have this show that, you know, is so awesome when you're younger because of these like small simple things, but then as you break stuff down as you get older and the cast gets older, like you start seeing and realizing more stuff, and you start kind of breaking it down a little bit more in your head, and it just makes you think. Like I like that value Fresh Prince is like that too, because it was great, like great for Will and his career as a black man, definitely. But then there's so many layers, like you guys are talking about the stuff that happened on the reunion with, you know, the levels of like the tiers of stars that they had, and all the different things that went with, you know, that Janet leaving and all of that stuff. It's just like, it's just mind boggling. Like we don't know the sides of Hollywood that like we should, I feel like. And it's fun to watch.
Now is just a crazy time because, you know, we talk about the classic shows that we just remember as children, but that's probably what our parents grew up on.
Sure.
And they didn't have the opportunity to be as exposed to things as we are. So, you know, we can watch fucking Fresh Prince, and then we can go on Instagram and see what they ate today for lunch. We can see everything that they're doing. We can see all of the negative things that they're doing, the positive things. And as much as you want to disassociate those two things from each other, I'm a person who, you know, I can watch a show, and I could watch The Cosby Show, right? Sure. And I love The Cosby Show. Oh shit, he just raped 79 women? You know, like now it's like I have too much information. Now I can't watch The Cosby Show the same as I would have had I not known this personal stuff about this actor or actress. So it's just a really weird time that we're in. It's like, it's very much overexposure. Right, overexposure, but it's good information to have, you know, when you have these people who are afforded all of these things because we're watching their shows.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, straight
I
up.
definitely like that. So one of the things I really like about the Fresh Prince is that so it was never a show that like, all right, you know, I gotta watch Fresh Prince. I'm turning it on, but it was definitely one of those shows. Oh, it's on the TV. We're not turning the channel. It can stay here. We'll
Right.
watch this. But I remember talking to my mom when I was younger, and I can't remember what show it was. We might have been talking about like Sanford and Son or like one of those shows back then. My mom told me it was like, you know, like most of these black TV shows growing up, they weren't good. And she was like, you want to know why we watched them? It was because there were black people on television. Like, you know, you didn't get to see that very often, so you felt like, you know, you could relate with the shows a little bit more. So it was nice to see that, like, you know, over time that, you know, the quality of shows that black people were in were actually, you know, getting better.
Yeah, well, I think
Oh
I
yeah.
look at shows like Rock that, you know, that lasted 1 or 2 seasons, but you know that was a good jump off platform for a lot of actors on there. And Jamie Foxx, I think he played a recurring character, and Tisha Campbell was on there as well. But you know, I think Rock was a garbage man. But you know, I think as we move earlier and you know, further into like the 2000s, you have like Michael Kyle from My Wife and Kids, and I think he owns his own delivery business or something. You know, like we're starting to kind of change the narrative a little bit. You know, even some of the shows that are single mothers, you know, they're single mothers with 6-figure jobs. They're not single mothers struggling or single mothers, you know what I'm
Right.
saying, fighting against the system. I
Well, the
mean, which we
Proud Family,
technically
too.
all are, but you know, I think when you look at the Cosby
Right.
Show, you look at Fresh Prince, there's a lot of relatability culturally, aesthetically, economically. I think a lot of different types of people of color can relate to that show, but you know, when you see a show that's regarded, you know, with just such, you know, acclaim and like everybody loves it, and then you see a character leave, you know, your first instinct is, I don't know what this is, but it's not the main character's fault. Like, I don't know why this person left,
Yeah.
but I love Steve Urkel. I love Will Smith. I love the nanny. Like, I
Right.
don't, that character can't be the reason why. And then you hear about it all these years later, you're like, wow, like, these people were on stage acting, I mean, giving it their all every night, every day, you know, whatever, missing holidays and birthdays, whatever. And they're being treated like shit just for my entertainment, just so I can grow up culturally and talk about this 30 years later, when I feel like if social media was around, enough people could have banded together for Janet Hubert. And who knows, like in a different universe, Janet Hubert became, she's in Black Panther. She's fucking the Queen of Wakanda. You know what I'm saying? She's T'Challa's mom, and Will Smith became, I don't know, Bokeem Woodbine. You know what I'm saying? He's playing crackheads in movies and shit. I don't know. I mean, who knows? I don't know.
Shit.
Imagine if Will Smith was Ezel in Friday.
My neck and right, my back.
I ain't seen nothing.
Right.
Neck and my back.
Right. My back. Right. Sorry. Will Smith is, I don't know.
That's stupid.
Anyway, though, let's talk about some of the versus battles. So, you know, we've had a lot of those these last so many months because of quarantine. I think Tory Lanez whack ass kicked off the whole social media craze with battling and doing stuff. So we have we had some notable
you're
ones. We
shooting
had
women.
Patti LaBelle versus Gladys Knight, which was probably supposed to be Patti LaBelle versus Aretha Franklin, but as we know, she passed away a few years ago. So Gladys Knight is right there. I'm Team Patti, by the way, just throwing it out there before y'all get y'all feelings hurt. As we move forward, we had Young Jeezy versus Gucci
bro.
Mane, which was
I
very
love
important.
cookbooks.
Same.
That was actually the most dangerous thing that's been done. That was more dangerous than being in a room with 3 people that had COVID, bro. Everybody in that room was in danger. I'm like, bro, we're putting people in the same room that have had beefs with each other, that have had hits out on each other, that have murked off each other's homeboys. And I'm just like,
Yeah.
that was actually wild. Like, well, when people told me, I was like, yeah, man, the first song that he played was a diss song. And I'm like, bro, like, there's just no way this is going to end well.
Yeah, that wasn't good. I think it could have been good for the culture, but it ended up kind of segueing into what felt like some commercialized BS because they kind of like kissed and hugged at the
Yeah.
end, and I was like, I'm gonna be honest, you know, you put $25,000 on my head, we are not homies anymore. We might be able to work with each other and do something, but we are not homies. Like, this ain't that.
What I think it was, honestly, with that, what I think it was, there was a sponsorship kind of like money thing involved with it.
Mm-hmm.
Like at the end. Because why in the world would both teams say, all right, we're going to come together and do this so icy? I feel like when both parties showed up, the Versus committee or whoever was sponsoring the event was like, yo, we got 100,000 for you guys if you do this. Because the I don't know how they monetize views and stuff like that and hits on Twitter and all of that, but that was a very lucrative Versus. That wasn't that the most viewed?
It might have been.
Probably.
All of them?
Probably. I mean,
I'm pretty sure
each
it was.
one.
Like, statistically, it was the most viewed. So that was the most money made on a Versus to date. If they did something like that, like, yo, we got 100K for you guys, just perform so icy at the end. And make it look like y'all cool. If y'all shoot each other up after you leave here, we don't care.
I mean, had this been done 10 years prior, that's probably how it would have went. I'm with
exactly.
you. I'm with you. Well, we got Ashanti versus Keisha Cole. I need to know, before we do another episode of this, I need to know where we stand. Okay, what's the consensus?
Listen.
I'm listening.
Anything going up against Love, Keisha Cole has that. But anything else, I think that this is a very unfair battle.
I agree. This battle is we not getting into the Grammys battle. So Carrie Hilson could have been in this too, but I think it makes more sense for Ashanti and Keisha Cole. I'm gonna just preface, I like Ashanti for the time. Some of the stuff Ashanti did later, didn't really care for it. I think the last thing of hers that I liked, she did that song with Akon and Nelly, like when we were in high school, called Body on Me. I was like, okay, I like her little feature on this. This is cool. Keisha Cole has hits, but she has the same type of hits. They're always this dude left me, or why you dragging me through the mud? There's a lot of pain. You know what I'm saying? That's why Love hits everybody where it hurts. I don't care how, you could be the most gangster motherfucker ever, okay? When Love comes on in the club, like, you know what I'm saying? You never knew what you were missing.
You're going to try to do that run. I don't care who you are. You're going to try to
do it. Keisha Cole also has, like... piss me off.
Can I get the Paris renditions of R&B classics?
Yeah, bro.
Oh, bro.
Next year, bro. I'm about to do all the Justified.
Yikes.
I'm gonna do.
Can we get Woman's Worth?
No, I'm gonna do all the Justified. I'm gonna do Gwen Stefani's album. What is that? Love, Crazy Love, Angel Music, Baby. That one. I'm gonna do all of that one.
You got to do all of Beyonce's and Love songs.
Relax, brother. Relax. You shall not pass.
Did you just do that song? No, bro.
You got Beyonce fucked up.
No, I don't know how I stand when it comes to that. For me, the whole Versus series is just to give us something to do during this time.
Sure.
And I understand that, of course. Just like that one time, I remember Alex on social media, we kind of had a dialogue about comparing like TDE to Griselda, and they're both good as fuck. But they're in the same jungle, but they're different animals. It's like putting a tiger against a lion. One of them is gonna win every other time.
You said
like
a tiger.
It's not gonna be like I said a tiger versus a lion.
Oh, okay.
Like one of them is gonna win either or like a T-Rex versus a Spinosaurus. Like it's gonna be
depending on the audience.
Definitely.
Exactly.
Paris says Spinosaurus. Now every viewer is looking up what kind of dinosaur that is.
It's from Jurassic Park 3. It was genetically modified to be able to kill the T-Rex, but the T-Rex still won it.
All right, Jeff Goldblum.
Whoa!
You said our scientists were so preoccupied if we could do it to them, they never thought if we had to do it to them. That's you.
But no, I would say for me, vocally, Keisha Cole is better.
Easy.
But songwriting or melody-wise or bop-wise, for me, it's Ashanti.
But a lot of Ashanti shit, though, are singles. Or not singles, excuse me, but features. Remember, Ja Rule had her, like, on everything. Because Ja Rule doesn't have any real hits by himself either. But I think features aren't banned.
Right.
Features shouldn't be banned during this.
Oh, no, of course not.
All I know is that when Impossible comes on with Twista and Kanye West and Keisha Cole, whatever Ashanti had, just got bodied. It just got destroyed. Like, Or Last Night with her and Diddy. Yo, Keisha Cole like makes that whole song, and I don't even think she has a real verse on there.
Yeah.
This is tough.
Yeah, no, her vocals. That's what I'm saying. Like her vocal presence is definitely like better than Ashanti's. I would say for sure. But from a standpoint of like hearing something besides Love or like another song, and then like starting to sing along with it. I remember more Ashanti videos. I remember Love was in the snow and she had like an all white get up on. But I remember Ashanti walking across a bridge, getting dressed on a beach. Like there's more memories from Ashanti.
Are you sure those are memories? Those might be just what you're envisioning.
No, bro. The Paris is a serial killer. Remember?
Yeah, I remember there's the video of her eating cereal. There's the video of her at Thanksgiving, and then there's the one of her at work. Oh yeah, all those videos.
Paris is like she puts her left sock on, then her left shoe, and then her right sock and her right shoe. She doesn't put both her socks on. She's gotta go.
All right. Well, speaking of the voice and how the throat works, let's talk about Throat Baby versus... I'm sorry. That was horrible. That was really bad.
Bro, wait. Before we get started with this,
okay,
y'all want to know the very first person that played Throat Baby for me? Or put it in the chat.
Yo, mom? Wait.
No, nigga. Rainier.
Oh
put it in the chat with me, Jordan, and this was literally like 4 months ago, guys. I shit you not. 4 months ago, he put this in the chat, and he was like, "Yeah, I be having DJs in Oklahoma play it." Sure enough, I see it on this random fitness trainer's story in like Cleveland, Ohio, on the Explore page, and then after that, it's every fucking where, which is crazy. It's like he predicted the whole wave. I was like, no fucking way. How are we gonna let this song, like we were talking about in our group chat, like what the fuck does this say on the radio?
Boat baby, boat baby, choke baby,
niggas is kings.
I mean,
they'll
figure out a way. I mean, remember they played Every Girl on the radio, and they had to cut Lil Wayne's verse all the fuck up. So you know they'll figure out.
Oh yeah, they'll definitely find a way, because they literally had 2 songs at the same time. All My Friends Are Dead. And then I Don't Want to Be Alive, and I'm like, damn, like back to back.
Hey, but even farther back than that, there was a song on the radio called "Let's Get Retarded." So
yes,
I mean,
2008.
We cannot talk about
that is one thing that.
Come on, man.
No, absolutely not.
Bro,
you know, Throat Baby for me really. I'm glad it came out when it did. So I'm just going to say this right now. Of all the songs about,
You're glad it came out?
I said when it did, brother. I'm glad it came out when it did, because, you know, of all the songs about sex, like Wake the Whisper song and what's the one with David Banner? He wants women to get sweaty and work out or whatever. Of all those type of songs, this one probably sounds the best. You know, has a really pretty piano on it. But I just can't help but to feel like a little bit of contradictory in this. Like, you know, people gave WAP. So WAP is not a good song, okay? I'm going to throw that out there. The beat is not good, none of that, but it did what it was supposed to do, and I'm happy that it did whatever it was supposed to do. But we just gave, like, I don't see any issue with Throat Baby, but WAP is getting just completely obliterated. I don't get it. What's up with that?
I don't think the song has gotten big enough yet for it to like so yeah. I've seen it talked about like on Facebook, in passing, like 1 or 2 people have said something about it. So it's like when you guys said something in the chat, I was like, I think I heard someone mention that song. But when you talk about like the caliber of people, like you put like the 2 top women, you know, face wise, like industry wise, in rap in this song, so it was going to gather so many eyes. Throat Baby,
right?
Cass, whose song is Throat Baby?
I don't know.
Exactly.
I don't know either.
I rest my case.
I mean, sure. That's not a...
He has one of those long, like, SSR...
S-Cargo?
Big Donato. Like, he has one of those weird names like that. I don't know it either myself, but... he has one of those, like 3 or 4 random letters before his actual name.
BRS Cash.
Right, exactly. BRS Cash. What the fuck is that?
That's SoundCloud.
I don't know.
And it's always going to be
that's a household
he doesn't
name?
change that name.
Yeah.
I'm going to his album, bro. Oh, yeah, she has an album.
Tell me what you find. We'll be here when you get back. I promise.
I'm definitely looking up his. So he's got little twisty braid thingies. He has chin hair and a mustache. I don't know. Maybe his beard doesn't connect all the way.
So he has a Paul Pierce.
That's literally all you see on there. Is, so he has 2 songs on iTunes. That's all. You see, there's Throat Baby. Oh, Go Baby. Maybe that's what they're gonna say on the radio.
A lot of baby. Oh, Go Baby.
Because
Baby.
No, Go Baby.
Oh.
Like Geo. Like Go Baby. Yeah, that. And then another song is Boss Shit.
Okay. Yeah, don't.
That he's featured in.
All right. Well, first of all, don't ever do that hand gesture with any of that ever again. That was.
Go Baby. I said, where my ladies at?
Oh God.
He's about to sing that in silence.
Cut from the Cool.
True, bro. You're definitely reciting the Cool, bro.
Piss me off. Is that Lupe Fiasco?
Yeah, bro.
All right.
Hey, man, don't.
All right.
Alex, let's not even get started at all.
Talk about Rod.
Let's not even get him started.
Let's get it started in.
Let's
get it started in here, brother. What you want to do? What you want to? No. You don't want to get it started in. All right. Last but not least.
Hey, wait. Before we move on, Rodney, I do see a little bit of your hate for him. I found out later on that like that nigga didn't even know how to skate, bro, and that shit kind of irked me a little bit. He learned how to skate for that video, but he didn't skate. Like he wasn't like a skater. Like you can tell, like people that were watching the video, bro. A lot of skaters watched the video.
So the skateboard shop knew that he liked skateboard culture, and but he wasn't like a big skater, or whatever. And it was like supposed to be a promotional song for the skateboard shop, and it got bigger than it was supposed to get. And then so people were just like, "Oh, Lupe the skateboarder," but he never really claimed it. It was
first guy when he was 6 couldn't know how to shit, so I went to the grocery store and made me some fish.
In his defense, he's a concept rapper and a storyteller versus, he didn't really have to do that shit.
Yeah, stories were getting told, that's for sure. Fables and fibs. I'm not letting it go.
All right, let's move on.
All right, yeah, cause man,
I don't want to hear no Lupe slander, bro.
We'll make that a separate podcast. No, I'm joking. Last but certainly not least, Clubhouse is a new app and is making waves right now. It's recently hit the mainstream because Kevin Hart just had a stand-up, and regardless of what your stance on comedy is, a lot of people feel like it wasn't very funny. I went back to watch it. I was like, you know what? I found Kevin Hart's first couple stand-ups funny, seriously funny, and some of the ones before that around the Soul Plane era.
Oh, yeah.
But he made a good point. As things progress in a person's career and their artistry, you have to change things. I can't keep telling the same jokes, blah, blah, blah. I mean, even Eddie Murphy, Richard Pryor, their comedy goes in ups and downs and waves or whatever. But there was recently a meeting on this app called Clubhouse. It's kind of like Discord or Zoom, but a lot cooler. And there was a room called Is Kevin Hart Funny? And they didn't know that Kevin Hart was an investor on this app that has admin privileges. So he was able to force himself into this room. And let's just say the conversation.
Can you imagine Kevin Hart in real life forcing himself into a room?
All right, you got Kevin Hart fucked all the way up. All right, and he's a little man, but don't do that.
Oh gosh,
that must be a little room.
Wow, I can't believe this. Wow, I can't believe this. But I don't know, Paris. You said you got a Clubhouse story. Let's talk about it, buddy. You said you were recently on there and you had a less than favorable experience.
Yeah. So basically, Clubhouse is a platform for people that
what up, Cam?
Do things. So if you have what's good, Cam?
You can't hear it. Everyone says
but Clubhouse is it's a great social media platform. I would say it's new. It's very exclusive. Like you only get one invite per your invite, so you can only be invited to the Clubhouse by somebody who's already in the Clubhouse. It's not like a social media platform where you can just join after you sign up. So there's a select group of people that's already in there. I don't know how many exactly people are on that server, but it's a lot. And so they make rooms, like Rodney was saying, they make rooms, and sometimes these rooms have different people in them that are either A&Rs or big artists and stuff like that. Like I know D.Will, which is a producer, Cardo Got Wangs. Who else was Sunny Digital? A couple people, like they just have rooms and they'll do like beat battles and shit like that, which is really good because you get to showcase your talent and be in a room that you're not even supposed to be in. Like you can catch up on marketing strategies for being an artist or merchandising, how things really work, like with royalties and stuff like that. So it's really good. But one night I happened to be in a room.
Your money to get out there and play some stuff for someone.
Yeah, you are describing all of the resourceful ways to use it. I was introduced to it listening to the Joe Budden podcast because Joe Budden is in there every day picking up Instagram honeys. So that's his use for it. Anyway, carry on.
Oh, Uncle Joe.
But so I got into one of these rooms, right? And it was an A&R room, supposedly with all these people that have this this industry clout. First thing I'm gonna say is I don't know any of these humans from a rock in a landslide.
Yeah.
Never heard of them. There was somebody that like was named Fireman, and he has like tie-dye hair and stuff like that. Never heard of him, but apparently he's the next biggest thing. And he was like one of the moderators, and there was a couple other people on there that were moderators. And they basically would have you play anywhere from 30 to 45 seconds of a record, and then they would give you feedback. But after listening to it, I didn't read the room right. I didn't know that there was so much bias, because I found out later on that there was more tearing down being done than actual like constructive criticism. Because when I got in there and I like played some of my music, I introduced myself, like being from Omaha, Nebraska, and then I instantly felt like the energy changed. Like, there's a Cornhusker in here. Like, niggas started cracking jokes and stuff like that. Like, and it's like there's definitely a stigma with saying where you're from. A lot of people from here, I know, probably can attest to that, because it's like, even of course, like women that are like beautiful, they're like, where are you from? And they're like, Omaha. And then they're like, what? No way. There's no bad bitches in Omaha. Like, where's Omaha? It's just corn out there. So that's literally how people think about our city and our state. And like what happened was, like, basically I didn't even get any type of feedback or anything. They just kicked me out of the fucking channel.
What the?
After like
nah, bro.
15 seconds.
No, bro. Did they really?
Yeah, bro. Like, niggas thought my shit was mid in there, apparently. So it's like,
supposed to be funny.
I could take it.
Funny. This isn't funny.
I could take it to heart. I could let it like bounce off of my skin like I did, and really think like, who are these six people that I don't even know? Their names don't hold any type of ground like with me. Like, I don't know them. Like I said, from a rock and a landslide. I couldn't point them out in a crowd of people and say, oh shit, that's so and so. That's my big break. I need to make sure that he likes my music. I didn't think that. I was literally just tossing my bait into a different pond than I have before. And not a fish isn't always going to bite the specific type of bait you put in that pond. You have to know what type of shit. I could have played them the wrong song. They could have been just laughing at my shit because it was like, I'm from Omaha. Like, the fuck is he doing? Like, he should be farming. Or trying to get a football scholarship or something like that. Like, there's a lot of different ways that you can think about that. But my take back from that is, like, you really have to find and network in rooms that are for you. Like, you have to do that. Like, Clubhouse it's a double-edged sword, because you can't go into everything thinking like, oh yeah, this is going to be this. Well, and honestly, there was only 2 people that I followed after listening to about 40 artists. Yeah. So I listened to about 30 to 45 seconds of people. And Alex, I'm gonna put you on to this dude too. I'm gonna actually send all of you guys and stuff, because this dude was hard. I forgot what his name was, but he was from like Connecticut, bro. Like, he was going crazy, and they didn't give him the same stuff, but he also probably had a better setup. And it was my first time on the app. I didn't know that people used iRigs, so it's like a mic that hooks up to your phone, and you can plug that up to like your interface, and it'll just play through there. And he probably did that because the sound quality was good. Like there was no like distortion in the bass or anything like that. So it's just about just realizing that you don't have to worry about what everybody says all the time. You shouldn't take all of that stuff to heart.
Well, let me ask you this, Cass.
But there are some good channels.
Right. Well, and I feel you because and I think that's any sort of like. I think like the channel thing and like jumping into different rooms is very synonymous with just moving around. Period. You gotta read the room sometimes before you jump right in it. No matter like where your heart's set, no matter how tenacious you might be feeling. I do a bit of traveling. We all do. But Cass, let me ask you this because you spend an extended amount of time in St. Louis on occasion. Like, do you get hit with the same like, oh, you're in St. Louis, but you're from Omaha? Like, what the fuck? Like, you're not. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What do people in St. Louis say? You ain't down, shawty. Well, I don't know what they say. I have to ask Cam. He knows what they say down there. But do you get hit with that type of shit?
I mean, I think so. The thing is when I am here a lot, but for the most part, the people that I am interacting with aren't from here either, and so they are from really everywhere across the United States because it's all military people. So. You got people from, it's usually the southern people who are like, the fuck, Omaha, like what is that, And so I tend to find that depending on, like you said, like it's going to be a certain audience. And so
yep.
just how it is geographically within certain regions, we have things that we relate to in the Midwest that, people from the East Coast have no clue about. And so it's things like that. And even Paris, as you were telling that story, my first thought was anyone with tie-dye hair and the loudness coming off of them like that, like just need to be seen in that way, that's not your audience. And so you're going to get those automatic, okay, I just decided he's from Omaha, Nebraska, I don't like him. So, it didn't really matter what you played. Once people switch that flip in their minds, then it's done.
I agree. I think people make naturally a lot of preconceived notions, and what I've come to find out in my time traveling is that the majority of the like closed-minded people or whatever, those people are on the coast. It's usually the people in the Midwest who are the ones that are like, I'm willing to try new shit. I'm putting myself out there in some new environments. The people on the coast are more along the lines of like, if you're from here, then this has to be you. Oh, you're from Nebraska. Oh, there's no way you make rap music. Oh, you're from.
But also, they're judged a lot more.
Yeah.
So I will say that is, you go to LA, you have places. Oh, let me show. You can't get in here with under 30,000 followers. So you're constantly judged by things like that, and so it's almost like a projection. Like, let me make fun of him before he makes fun of me, or before. I try to accept him and I get made fun of now. So.
Yeah, I agree. It's tough. I'm sorry. What were you saying, Alex? I think you're about to jump in on something.
I've just always found it very interesting, especially like music wise. I feel like for Omaha, like getting support within Omaha is always very weird. I've seen a lot of artists, they'll take the route of, all right, I'm gonna try and get buzz in other cities around the Midwest. Like a lot of people like travel to like Kansas City and things of that sort, because Omaha is not a place where trends start. Trends always start on the coast and then they work their ways in. So when you have something that's starting in Omaha, people in Omaha are gonna look around to like, all right, what they doing down south, what they doing on the West Coast, what they doing on the East Coast. Oh, they're not listening to this person? Like, oh, it's trash. We're not going to pay attention to it. Oh, they're not on this in Chicago? Like, oh, we're just not going to pay attention to it. I feel like it's just a very hard, like, place for people to, like, start at. And it's kind of weird because, when you listen to, like, a lot of people's music, especially rap music, you hear a lot of pride in where they're from. But that's kind of hard when you're from Omaha, Nebraska, and people don't want to hear that, you're from Omaha, and you got to try to get big somewhere else, or have other people play your stuff before you get play in your own city. And Paris is shaking his head because he's like, man.
Well, it's trash. I mean, it's a garbage concept, but unfortunately it's true. And it usually takes one person who is able to read the room and work the room to really like convince people to listen to this and to like let them know like this is this is the next thing, or I'm the next thing, or this thing that I'm showing you, like I want you to pay attention to this at this type of level. I want you to open up your ears the same way you open up your ears to the rappers from Harlem and Brooklyn. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm out here with that type of time. And, you know, I think people naturally from the Midwest, since we don't have it, we're going to fight to keep it. Where more times than not, people who are on the coast, you figure they have these things, they have these connections. And sure, you know, there's a lot of fish, you know, in that pond out there. But I think that type of, you know, environment also breeds just laziness. It's just like, yeah, there's just a lot of fish. Why? Just fuck it. Who cares? You know, I'm not going to do it. Somebody else will do it. But over here, you know, you get people like Paris. You get people like, I don't fucking know, anybody from this part of the United States, and they're putting themselves out there, and they're like, I'm out here on a whim. I'm in LA for a weekend. I'm not here to go to the club. I mean, I want to have fun, but I came here on a mission, and I want to make this trip a forever thing. So I want to figure out a way to extend the fruits of my labor for the next time I come out here and to the next time after that. And I think that's something that I think, like Cass was saying, culturally and just geographically, a lot of people just don't understand that. They're like, you drove how far to get here? You did why? Like, why did you do that? That doesn't make any sense.
Right.
Why? You know?
Bro, and see, so the upside to all of this was immediately after that day, an A&R that was in that room heard probably the whole the thing that happened, like with me and whatnot. An A&R just randomly was in a room with me and one of my other homies. Sure. And he happened to be from Omaha, Nebraska. Mm-hmm. And he does a whole bunch of shit with Grammy nominated people. He literally just got somebody, one of his songwriters that he manages, Chris Brown, picked up one of his songs, and then they made some production on Ty Dolla $ign's newest album. And he said that literally one of his songwriters played a song in like that, either that same group chat or a different one, and it was a song that Chris Brown picked up, and they kicked him out. Same exact way they did me, which is fucking wild. So it's like, like you were saying, it's just like you have to read the room. And he told me that exact same thing. He said you have to read the room, and then also after you read the room, if you feel like it's something that you potentially could have, you know, some type of impact in, you still need to keep that Omaha part at the very end. You don't mention that until they start asking you more about where you're from. You come into the room with confidence. You come into the room with what your purpose is and what you do. You lay that out. You lay all of that out first. And then you let them ask you, where are you coming from? Where are you hailing from? As opposed to introduction like, oh yeah, I'm a producer from Omaha, Nebraska. Like, you don't want to do that. You just say, yo, here's this record. Shit's fire to me. I just want to hear some feedback. Like, you got to step in rooms like that with confidence.
Yeah, because I think naturally any mammal can smell, anything that's alive can smell fear for the most part. You know, so if I feel uncertainty, if I feel like you're not confident, I mean, half of the performance is already done. Like, imagine if Beyonce got on stage and was like, yes, I'm going to open up with Listen and some of my smaller numbers because I'm just a little nervous. Like, motherfuckers just start walking out. You know what I'm saying? I need to be entertained from start to finish. Right. And, you know, actually a buddy of mine in the chat here, because I know we got to get ready to get going here in a little bit. A buddy, Alex House, said, I think the real issue is that some people in Omaha don't show support to other natives. And that's a good point. I feel like support is very subjective. Paris, I know you and I have had a lot of conversations. I think we've all actually talked about this. I support any young person that's following their dreams and doing what they're doing. Now, I think that there is a physical approach to support that varies from person to person. There's a lot of people who make clothes in town that I'm like, hey, look, I'm happy that you're young. You know what I'm saying? You're out here getting it, following your dreams. But I think your shit's weak. So, like, I'm sending you, the type of support I'm giving you is I'm sending you positive vibes. I want to make sure that my vibes help you, you know what I'm saying, follow your dreams. You can take it to that next level. But in terms of me purchasing something or putting something on, I just don't like it. Like, I just don't like the type of product you're putting out. I would much prefer if I had fans or supporters that were able to tell me, Rod, Paris, Cash, you know, that thing that you just did, I didn't like that. You know what I'm saying? I liked it better when you did this. To me, that's a real fan. So the idea that, you know, everything that somebody does, I have to support it. Like, I think that's kind of wild. Now, if you don't like it, you don't have to, like, this is the Omaha problem here. And this is where I see Alex's point of view in the chat. The real problem is that the things that we don't like, we get vocal about. Like, man, I don't like this. Man, it's fucking weak. It's garbage. You know what I'm saying? This is, I don't like Cass's sweater.
You didn't even have to say all that.
Yeah, like, I like Cass's shit better. Fuck Paris.
With no type of It's just like there's tearing down. There's no constructive criticism.
Exactly.
It's just deconstructive.
Tearing
And I was
people
like,
down.
why is it trash?
But at the same
Not make it trash.
at
Like,
the same time is, you can offer up that constructive criticism. I know, if Paris is about to drop something, or maybe he's designing something, and one of us is like, actually, have you thought about putting this over here because it looks weird over
Sure.
here, whatever the case is. Paris is going to take that. He's going to be like, either I like it this way and I'm going to keep it this way, or you know what, that's a really good point. Let me go back to the drawing board. So many times you offer up your opinion in a way that is constructive, and anything that is differing from the original, you're either met with, the way Paris would take it, okay, thank you for this input, or fuck you, why are you talking shit about what I'm trying to do over here? It's kind of a way that is not accepting of criticism. It's just an automatic, right. I'm taking what you're saying and I'm taking it as a rejection or a shit talking, or right. just automatic negatives, versus being able to use that and use it as a resource. So
I agree.
I mean, either way you go.
Also, another thing too with what Alex was saying, like Omaha people don't support Omaha people. So let me break down this scenario for you. My experience with a lot of Omaha people is that there is more haters than there are people that actually do stuff. Period. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if somebody. So Rick Ross on the Breakfast Club interview said, a hater is somebody that is outside of your career or profession that doesn't like what you do, but they have no idea how much work you put into it at all whatsoever. They just know you from high school. They know you from college. They know you from the club scene. And they say they don't like you. When somebody that's in your profession has something to say, you're more willing to listen to them. And it's just they didn't like that move that you did.
Fair enough.
Like if Rick Ross was to tell Jay-Z or to tell somebody that he looked up to as a mentor, like Birdman, that wasn't hating. When he dropped that whole song about that, there was no hate in that. He literally was just saying like, yo, this is the shit that you did. I didn't like this. I don't like this. That's not a hater. When you're in the same career or profession and you know the stuff that goes behind all of it, it's different. That's like me telling somebody that does glass blowing, I didn't like their glass blowing. Like that shit doesn't look hard to me, and it's supposed to be obtuse or it's supposed to be surreal or something like that. We have a lot of people here. Like I even saw it the other day on Facebook. I was literally on Facebook and somebody was complaining about seeing local businesses and like pages and shit like that on their timeline, and complained about getting invites from people to actually join their like page or something like that. And I unfriended them and blocked them on shit because it's like, bro, what? You don't want to see somebody doing something to the point where you have to complain and make a whole status or post about it. Like she was like, nah, I don't fuck with likes. I don't fuck with like pages. I'm not gonna like it now. I'm not gonna like it later. Like, what's up with all these people trying to make businesses for themselves? It's like, bro, what? That's the mentality that is thriving here, as opposed to being a collective group of people that are working to push our city forward in multiple scenes. The only push that I've seen like that is literally with some of the people that are in this chat, like Alex and Rodney, that are pushing the casting scene for this entire state by working with the people that they're working with and working together. That nobody else does that shit. We don't have clothing brands. We don't have clothing brands like me and Zeus working and shit like that all the time. Like, I don't work with a whole bunch of people like that. I don't work with a whole bunch of artists like that. I don't work with a whole bunch of people like that because I don't want to go out on a limb and exert energy where it's not necessary. Like, I could put that shit back into my own stuff. I could put that shit into pushing my brothers forward. I could put energy other places. And that's why there's not a channel of support like it should be. Like, we should have a scene like Atlanta where Young Thug gets on and then he pays Lil Baby to get out the hood and start rapping more. Or he brings Gunna to sessions and they start hopping on songs and then they start making a whole wave based off of just these three people that came into contact. Sure. If we had something like that.
Definitely the reason why like that being comes from like the mindset, like I feel like, so people from Omaha, I think they they see the city as smaller than it actually is.
Definitely.
When I talk to people about like the population of Omaha, and I'll name off like random cities that like we have a bigger population than, and they look and they're like, no, you're lying. I'm like, no, you could actually like look online. Like Omaha is a pretty big fucking like it's a
Almost,
pretty big city.
we're at 1,000,000
Like,
people, aren't we?
I've told people I feel like we're like Cleveland without a sports team. Like give Omaha give Omaha a sports team and we're freaking Cleveland. With a cool group, but I like Rod's like nobody wants to be Cleveland, dog, and I was like, yeah, like just like people. I mean, nobody wants to be Omaha, but
Right.
I would like to touch back on how Rod was talking about supporting local clothing brands as I see that he is wearing your brand right now, Paris.
Shit, I'm wearing my brand right now. What you mean?
I'm actually on your website right now, about to buy this Doberman shirt because it's fucking crisp, bro.
Thanks, bro. It's
That's
textured too. This is an experience. It starts off raised and textured. It feels kind of like sandpaper, and then after a few washes, it gets smooth. So that's another way that you can tell if somebody's trying to sell you some unds.
Well, goddamn.
It's not dead stock reform. If a nigga try to sell you some dead stock reform and it still has, I mean, it doesn't have any texture, then they wore it and washed
I think
it. And you're getting bamboozled.
I will say too, to also add to kind of round this all off here. I think supporting this town, how it works and how you get on, of course, varies. But I think no matter how you strip it, no matter how you take it away, you have to engage with the people. And I do think that that's why a lot of some of the other brands here that I don't really rock with, they're thriving, you know what I'm saying? They're around. I mean, granted, right now it's probably not the best to be around people, but even like looking at some of this before, like they're going to events, they're doing things, whatever. Even if somebody's kind of like, I really don't like this a lot, but I like you. You know what I'm saying? I support you because you're a fun person to be around. You seem to be a very impressionable type of human being.
Right.
I'm willing to shop. And I think that that's one thing that, even like looking at the music a few years ago, to add to what Alex said about how this town is a lot bigger than we perceive it to be. I mean, I remember like years ago, I would always say, man, I really feel like, what I'm saying, some of us should do some songs with some of the downtown rappers. And like, for years, like we got people like Jordan and, like YB, all these, talented artists, Shan Marie, but we also in the downtown area have people like Connie Franco, Black Johnny Quest, what I'm saying, Briss was a little bit more of the downtown scene too. And I was like, why are we not, like, there's a gap there that we need to bridge. And the city, right. I mean, it's small, but it's big in a lot of other ways. And I just feel like, if people came around each other more, with I'm not saying bad intentions. I mean, of course, we all want to turn people into customers, but with pure intentions to actually get to know people. Once people have that idea in their head that this is a genuine one-to-one, what I'm saying, hey, like, I'm not going to get this type of customer service from any other type of brand. Like, that's how you really lock people in for life. And I think that's one thing that some of the whacker brands in town are really good at is like, my brand might not be as conceptually hard as Rod's or, what I'm saying, as Anwar Carrots or, or Ruizi or any of these guys that we like. But because, we host more things and people are just always in our face, it's just like, man, you know what? Shit, I'm already here, bro. I done already spent $50 on this drink for your little event. I might as well buy your shirt. Let me get your shirt. You know what I'm saying? Then
right.
Take the shirt, post it to social media, you tag somebody, then boom. Oh, you shared my shirt. You know what I'm saying? Cool, I got a couple followers. And then now it's like an endorphin. It's like, oh, shit. I like the way that felt. I'm going to buy another shirt. I'm going to see if he shares it again. Okay, cool. Now I'm sharing it on his Instagram. And so it's a repetitive cycle that I think is kind of transcended, so many years of making clothes. There's different layers like social media and shit like that played into the mix. But I'm just a firm believer that, you just got to get around people. You know what I'm saying? You got to let people see you. And then I think that that's how you really start. Like, that's the, 75% of the sale. The other 25% is, oh, damn, I guess this is alligator skin. I didn't know that. I mean, I just kind of liked you, motherfucker. I didn't know that this was outlet right. Shit. I mean, I like you and I get alligator skin. I'm with it. Like, let's do it.
Right, exactly. Cass, what do you have to say about that? What do you see about the scene of like Omaha and like support and whatnot? Like, what do you
As somebody who supports everything, I don't think Cass has said no to anything.
Shout out to you. First three purchases form this drop. You know what I'm saying? Big gang.
I just finished my purchase.
Yeah, I saw that. I'm about to fulfill your order.
Congrats,
Alex. You know what?
Yeah, break it down for us, Cass.
I mean, I definitely, just as obviously I don't have a clothing brand or make music or anything like that. but I support you guys in all of your endeavors. At least I try to. And I hear what you guys say to me, and basically, you know, I don't want to reiterate everything you guys just said, but I see it and I feel the same way. It's kind of just that crabs in a barrel mentality where, you know, I have my thing over here and I don't want to put my dollars into this person's thing over here because I don't know them like that. And so it becomes a thing where, you know, okay, y'all stay over there, I'll stay over here, and we're never going to get anywhere further than where we are because we're not willing to work together or, you know, support each other. So it just becomes a stagnant thing.
Yeah, absolutely. It gets tough after a while, and it's trying to see the bigger picture, not just, you know, the bigger picture with the idea of where we can be, but the bigger picture in terms of like the proper steps that it's going to take to get there. Because when somebody gets inspired to do something, there is that boom, there's that initial step. Like that's like the biggest leap you'll ever take. I'm creatively making something and I'm producing it and I'm putting it out there for people's opinions on this thing that I hold near and dear to me. But I think, you know, if you want to take it to like that next level, you know, I think that it takes a certain type of vision to really like, this is where I want to be in 5 steps. This is where I want to be in 6 steps and 7 and 20, you know, and you're not crazy for breaking it down like that on step 1, but just know that obviously you also can't jump steps. You know, you can be propelled a couple steps, but, you know, jumping from step 1 to 20, like somewhere in between, you know, 1 and 19, you know, you might have missed out on some sort of wisdom, some sort of learning lesson, some sort of something. And there's just a lot of, locally, there's a lot of arrogance. There's not a lot of, I'm willing to hear you out and listen to what you have to say. There's a lot of, oh, you must not know who I am. I'm this person. Motherfucker, I make nails and shit. You know what I'm saying? I'm on Instagram. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's just too much arrogance.
Right. And then, like you said, like the crabs in a barrel thing, and then also not having those plans kind of lets me know that the way that people think about what a business is or what making something a household name really takes. Like I read a book specifically about branding. Why are their kids named Mercedes? Why are their kids named Alizé? Because that's a quality brand that is a household name. Literally. Why does everybody recognize the Nike check? Because it's a quality brand that everybody recognizes. There are certain things that you have to do as a company and have goals that you need to hit going up the totem pole of being a business owner if you want to make steps like that. And like I have a 3 to 5 year plan. I don't know too many people here with a 3 to 5 year plan. I tried to make a status, you know, picking everybody's brain. Like on Facebook, I don't know. I think maybe Alex or Rodney might have saw it, but I probably made, like, I want to say like a month or two ago, like I basically was transparent with my own goals about being a B corporation, which is a corporation that is sustainable by means of giving people jobs and using more recycled products in making their clothing to make sure that it has less strain on the planet, like dyeing jeans with eco dyes, which dissolve in water. They're water soluble, as opposed to like the indigo dye that fucks around and kills fishes and stuff like that. And so that's like in my like, gonna wash off, bro.
No. Like, yeah, no. Bro, here it is hard shirt. You can't wash it though.
No, Silas, put your shirt together for 10 cents an hour, just like the rest of these kids. Okay, it's the quality shirt.
Did he iron the shirts too?
Yeah, quality shirts. Quality people, of course. Quality episode here. First episode in the Z-Axis, episode 1. Wow, this was really fun. I mean, we have conversations like this all the damn time, so I think it's.
I love talking to you guys,
and I think it's awesome that, you know, we got a couple people who tuned in as well too. I know Melissa is probably at home watching, Cam, Alex, and a handful of other. Somebody named Feet. Was just a person named Feet that was watching. I don't know who that person is, but yeah, just Feet. That's FEET. And Black Burrito said that nigga old. So I don't know. There's 3 old niggas. I don't know who. I'm just gonna assume Alex.
Is that Rick?
But
he was talking about Cass.
That nigga old.
I get that a lot.
Are you old?
Alrighty, friends. I think we're gonna call it here. Thanks everybody for tuning in. We do this, or we'll try to do this, a couple Thursdays out the month. We're all very busy people. We have a lot of things going on, but we'll try to come back on another Thursday sometime soon for another episode to talk and banter about shit that we like to talk and banter about. I don't know. This is pretty much what we do all day, virtually in our group chat and in person when we're social distancing and wearing masks around each other. Hell yeah.
Wow.
Alright guys, I'm gonna call it here. Thanks for tuning in. I will see you all next time. Peace and good night.
Deuces.